So this morning I woke up and I was just looking through Twitter and I found this video from Young Minds UK and I watched it and I related to it so much, and I don't think it's right that school should carry on that way. So I'm going to link the video in the description. So basically the tweet says, "Does this look familiar? Mental health must be a priority in our schools. Now is your chance to #tell Ofsted to make it one." So definitely go watch that video right now if you haven't seen it. But after I saw that, I got really emotional and angry because I had a really bad school experience. My school was outstanding by Ofsted standards, but it never was outstanding. The school was good at achieving good results with people who were very clever, very bright, and they were good at handling people who were at the bottom end of the scale. So they were good at the bottom end and the top end. Everyone else in the middle, who was the majority of the students, were just kind of ignored and put down. And that's not right. A school shouldn't be outstanding if it can't deal with the majority of its students. A school isn't just for getting good grades. That's not what a school should be. A school should be a place that will care for you. Some people don't have families who care for them, and at school they should be cared for. Everyone deserves that in life, and this isn't even making sense. I'm gonna cry. Oh my god. Okay, so after seeing this tweet, this led me to do a Twitter thread, and this is what I think an outstanding school should be. So an outstanding school should notice... What on earth is happening out there? I'm sorry about that, I have no idea what's going on. An outstanding school should notice when a student is going through something, do something about it, actively do something about bullying, and care about all of its students, not just those who are future Oxbridge applicants. When I was at school, particularly at GCSEs, I was under so much pressure because I thought that I had to do really well. My target grades were A's and A stars, and every single day they would mention my target grades. They would say, "Oh, do you know your target grades? What's your target grade? Are you getting towards your target grade? Are you on track? Are you going to get it?" And for me, I probably could have got those target grades if I wasn't so stressed and anxious because they were pushing me and pushing me and pushing me. But if those target grades had been, say, B's, then I wouldn't have felt so much pressure, and maybe I would have done better. I don't know, but I remember in GCSEs I would get home from school and I'd cry, I'd have panic attacks. I had this little notebook and I wrote it down in it, just how I felt when I was in that mindset. And literally I just write pressure, I hate school, target grades, university, not going to get anywhere in life, have to get A grades. And that's not healthy. Part of that was me thinking that I had to follow in my parents' footsteps and go to really, really good universities. But something that really, really did not help that at all was the school pushing me and telling me that I had to get my target grades. They would be disappointed if you didn't get your target grade, and I thought that I was disappointing everyone in my life. I thought I was disappointing my teachers, my parents, myself, and I felt like a failure. So if I got a B, I would think I was a failure. When in reality, a B is a good grade. But in my head it wasn't, because I was pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. And I thought that I had to be this amazing student who was perfect at everything. But that's just not me. Yes, that is achievable for some people, but not for the vast majority. And that just wasn't achievable for me. And it became even less achievable when my mental health was disintegrating. I was having panic attacks, I was anxious, I was stressed. That made it even worse. That meant that I could not concentrate on anything. So I had even less of a chance of actually getting those target grades. My school only really cared about you if you were going to be applying to Oxbridge. They put so much. They were just so proud, which is not a bad thing. Obviously you should be proud of your school's achievements, but it was to the point where every day you would be faced with, oh, last year, 5 people got into Oxbridge, or last year 10 students got a full sweep A's and A stars in GCSE, or whatever. And also what really annoyed me about my school was in 2013 Ofsted came back and we were said that our school was outstanding, so our school kept their outstanding status, and the school did not stop going on about this the entire time the entire rest of the time I was at the school. They had a massive banner outside the school saying still outstanding. It was on every single school letter, every single newsletter, every single bit of paper that you'd get said still outstanding, still outstanding, still outstanding. But they never actually did anything to improve. Just because you're an outstanding school doesn't mean that there's not things you can improve. In my opinion, the school was not outstanding at all. At all. The school didn't care about so many things. In GCSEs, I got so stressed and so anxious. I'd cry in class all the time. I'd leave class. I'd have panic attacks. And not once did anyone ever refer me to the school nurse. I did that myself, and my mum did that. My mum pushed me to go to the school nurse, and I had to go myself. An outstanding school should notice that a student is having problems and make an appointment with the school nurse for them. The people at school are children. They are, at secondary school, 11 to 16. It's not an 11 to 16-year-old's responsibility to be proactive and go and talk to a nurse, because they're a child. They probably don't know what to do. They're in such a bad mental state that they probably didn't even think to do that. But if a teacher had just set up an appointment, then everything could have been so much better. But to me, that never happened to me. I would cry in lessons all the time. My teachers even told my parents about me crying in lessons, at parents' evening. but no one thought, oh, she should go to the school nurse. No one set up an appointment for me until my mum realised and set up an appointment for me. My mum did that, not the school. And some people don't have parents who notice things like that. Some people aren't as lucky as I am to have parents who would do that for you. So what about them? They would just have never gone to the nurse, and anything could have happened. My next tweet was, an outstanding school does not put unnecessary pressure on students to get good grades, ignore the signs of mental health difficulties, ignore a student telling them that they are being bullied. In year 7, I told my school that I was being bullied, and they did nothing about it, really, at all. Literally, they brought the girl in and talked to her. That just made it worse. She was like, oh, you grasses, oh, blah blah blah. If you don't know what that means, it's like you told on me. Yeah. And that made it all worse. And then the next year, we were put in the same class again. She was moved to a different class at half term. I don't know if that was because they realised that we were put in the same class, or because she was being moved for some other reason, I don't know. But she was put in the same class as me again the next year. And she sat next to me rather than with her friend so that she could torment me. And this could have been so easily avoided if the school had just not put her in the same class as me again when they knew about what had happened the year before. That annoys me so much, because I was terrified of her, absolutely terrified. And one of the things that she'd pick on me about is if I got literally in year 7, my skin was, oh my god, I actually can't speak. In year 7, my skin was so clear and amazing, but every once in a while I'd get a really big spot on the side of my nose. So this girl, she would point this out every time. I'd never been self-conscious about my skin before, and obviously I was getting bullied. I started being self-conscious. I was already a shy child, and that just made it worse and worse and worse. And then the school just put me in the same class as her again. Oh my god. And anyway, the last thing that I said in this tweet was, an outstanding school does not tell their students that they are a glitch. This is something that really, really annoys me. My school, I stayed on at my school for sixth form. Our GCSE results in my year group weren't as good as the year above us. So, our head teacher told every single year group, including ours, he said, yeah, the GCSE results last year were a bit of a glitch, but it's okay, we'll sort it out this year, they'll be way better this year. If I was mentally okay, then that probably wouldn't have bothered me that much. I've just been annoyed, your head teacher calls your year group a glitch and basically says that you're not good enough. But because I had been struggling with stress and anxiety, and I know just how hard GCSEs were for me, how hard I worked and how hard I tried, because if you don't know what it's like to have a mental health difficulty and be doing exams, you literally cannot concentrate on anything. You can't concentrate on anything. I'll try and revise and I'll just start crying, and that'll be that. I can't do anything for like the rest of the night because I'm in such a state. So I was quite proud of how I did in my GCSEs, because looking back, I did pretty well for the circumstances. And then our head teacher goes and is like, oh yeah, you're a glitch, you're not good enough. Then for the rest of my time at sixth form, that was on my mind. Every day I'd be like, oh, we're a glitch, we're not good enough. We're not good enough, we're a glitch. Why even bother? Why even bother trying? We're a glitch, we're not good enough. So I think that Ofsted should not only look at how good the teaching is in the school, which I'll get to that in a second. They should not only look at that, they should also, and obviously not only look at like grades and everything like that, they should look at how the school handles mental health, how they handle bullying, how they handle everything. Because if they saw what really happened in that school, they would know that it wasn't outstanding. But they just see this little part of like academic success and good teaching and think, oh, it's a brilliant school. But in reality, that's just not, that's, if you go to an outstanding school, you should have a good experience, you should have support throughout your time there. You shouldn't just get a good standard of teaching. A school is more than just the teaching. It's about supporting your students it's about supporting the students through their teenage years. And that brings me on to another thing. So schools get warned before Ofsted come, like a day before or something. Why? Why are schools warned? Because I don't know about your school, but at my school they would like tell us all, oh, you have to be on your best behaviour. Teachers who never actually taught you anything would suddenly have a lesson plan and a whole presentation and everything for that day, and then they just go back to how they were before. So Ofsted was never actually seeing what the school was actually like. And Ofsted should see what the school is actually like, because that's the whole point of, Ofsted and the whole system where it's like outstanding, good, whatever, is to know what the school is actually like. But that's not what happens. The Ofsted never actually sees what the school is like, at least in schools who are already seen as outstanding or good. I'm not sure, I feel like the lower down schools, like the ones who require improvement, maybe don't get told, but I'm not sure, I don't know enough about that. Also, outstanding schools aren't checked very often. If they are seen as outstanding, then the school is then not checked for years and years and years. Literally, my school was checked in 2013 and it was said as outstanding. It's now 2019, still hasn't been checked since. It's been 5, almost 6 years. A lot can change in that time. There will be so much that has changed in that time. I feel that the school has gone downhill a lot since that time. Yeah, but also back to the what Ofsted should look at. I think they should look at how they've handled situations, because my school, there was an incident at my school where a teacher was having an inappropriate relationship with a student, and she was obviously, taken off school grounds, whatever. She didn't have a job anymore. But my school just kind of tried to cover it up. My year group had a farm who was run by that teacher, and they never told us anything. They had a paragraph like this long about the situation. If I was a parent and my child was at the school and were taught by this teacher, I would want to know what was happening. I would want to know. I'd want to know what was going on. I'd want to know what happened, what's been done about it, when like even when there's like a trial or something, like what the outcome of the trial was, I'd want to know, so then I know that my child is safe and I'd know that it's all been dealt with. But my school didn't tell us anything, not even our year group who had a farm who was run by the teacher. Didn't tell us anything. People just found out, on the news, on the local news. Never said anything. Eventually, in like an end of year letter, had like a tiny paragraph about it. And I don't think that's acceptable. I think that they should have handled it way better. If I knew a school that like did that and handled something like that as they did, I wouldn't want to send my child there. And I feel like that is also part of what should make a school outstanding, like how they handled situations like that. Ofsted should look at all of this stuff and think about it, because I feel like they just have a checklist and they check it, and at the end of that it's like, oh yeah, it's outstanding. But it's not as simple as that when it comes to a school and education and how good it actually is for the people who are learning there. It's not that simple. So I just want to read a couple of replies to the tweets from Young Minds that like hit me and like I related to. So this girl tweeted, my school would have let me die if it meant they kept their outstanding from Ofsted. Ofsted will never give a damn. I retweeted that because I relate to that a lot. Like, I really do feel that my school would have let me commit suicide. Like, they wouldn't have noticed that was happening. I honestly don't think they would have noticed, because I was, at the end of year 13, I was at the same school. At the end of year 13, I was suffering from severe depression, and things like that were crossing my mind and things were happening in my life, and I really do think that they would have just let me die and not noticed, because they never did anything. They never seemed to notice. I would literally cry every day. I'd cry in every single one of my maths classes, and no one ever seemed to be like, are you okay? Are you struggling with anything? Yeah. Next tweet. My old school never asked about bruises, missed lessons, forgotten lunch, dirty clothes. All it cared about was towing the line. If they'd asked, my best friend could have told them she was being abused by her father. How can you talk to someone and share when they only shout? Another tweet. If schools focused on making sure students' mental health were okay, rather than just shoving work in our faces and boasting about their authority, then I wouldn't have had to go to counselling for self-harm in the 5th grade, and my friend would still be alive. My school is supposedly against homophobia. If they really cared and teachers took action, then I would have never cried in the bathroom, lost many friends and lost my trust in teachers. They put posters about supporting LGBTQ+, but those don't do beep. My school, I'm not part of the LGBTQ+ community, but my school, they had like a LGBT club, and I know that my head teacher refused to let them do a play because they were LGBTQ. And I can't imagine how that would have made me feel if I was part of that community, because it just made it obvious that our head teacher didn't approve and that he didn't support that. But really, his opinions should stay outside of school. If he thinks that, then he's entitled to his own opinion, but this is the 21st century. He's the headmaster of the school. He should support all students, no matter what. No matter what their sexuality is, no matter what their gender is, anything. He should support everyone. I wish schools wouldn't put so much tremendous pressure on our kids and repeatedly tell them if they don't do well, they'll automatically be a failure for the rest of their lives. There is more to life than academics. That was literally me. Like, every day I think I was going to be a failure, and I think that I was going to be homeless because I didn't get an A grade. This one, right? My school had an award for if you had 100% attendance, which I think is stupid, because obviously it's great if you get 100% attendance, that's all great, but what if you were actually really ill? Like, what if you were in the hospital? Obviously you couldn't go to school. But that's physical health. Mental health also means that you can't go to school sometimes. And I don't think that's kind of understood. This tweet is, my school and my current sixth form care more about attendance than why people have those days off. Unless you're physically ill, they see it as an excuse to be lazy, when in reality my mental health sometimes makes me feel worse than if I did have physical sickness. If people took mental health more seriously instead of sweeping it under the rug by saying, you're just tired, or exams make everyone a little stressed, you just need to concentrate more, then maybe we wouldn't have generations of people suffering thinking they're overdramatic. Oh my god. It just makes me so angry. Something needs to change, because a child shouldn't be having a panic attack because of school. They should be they should be, and obviously school is going to create stress. I feel like that's just inevitable in any sort of thing. That's just how the world works. But school shouldn't be causing so much stress and anxiety that it leads to having panic attacks every day, crying every day, self-harming, suicide. This happens every day to students in this country, and it's not acceptable. It shouldn't happen, and something needs to change. So please do share this video if you agree with what I said or whatever. Please share it on Twitter, Instagram, whatever, Facebook. Use the hashtag #TellOfsted, and make sure you watch that Young Minds UK video if you haven't already, and retweet it, share your story, whatever. Also, leave comments below about your opinions on this whole thing, what you think. If you want to, you can share your experiences, stories. So please give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe if you haven't already. So thank you so much for watching, never stop dreaming, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!